Good evening, everybody, and Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad and believers in Yeshua Messiah. Guys, I am so sorry. We're a little bit behind tonight. I guess about almost 15 minutes, close to it. We've been having some more technical difficulties. But finally, we're broadcasting. It's out. Hopefully everything is going good. If you guys are receiving us well, if you're hearing this on YouTube or watching it on the app, please give us a thumbs up or say something in the chat. Let us know that you're getting it. Hopefully everything is going well. Hopefully you're having a good Shabbat Eve. It's actually Shabbat here right now on the East Coast, and we're gonna have a discussion. It is time for Hidden Manna, where we open up Father's Word, try to explore the things that maybe we haven't seen before or understood the way that we should. Of course, this is a conversation. I don't do this by myself. My dear brother is with me. Brother Max, how you doing, man?
What's up, buddy? Shabbat Shalom.
Man, what a stressful night, huh?
It was crazy.
There's no shalom yet.
No. I was getting ready for another technical difficulties like
Yeah,
last week, bro.
yeah, we came close. We came close to no Hidden Manna tonight either. But I don't know. We
Yeah.
gotta get these glitches or whatever worked out. But hey, we're here, man.
Yep, it's been a while, man. This is our last conversation was on the 19th of May.
Wow. Oh my goodness, that time
4 weeks.
Time just flew right by.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I miss you, brother. Good to see you.
I miss you too, man. I know. I can barely see. I could just see it. My eyes. That smoke we had a couple of days ago, last week.
Wasn't that incredible?
Yeah, it messed up my eye. I got a double pink eye and all irritated. I'm on eye drops. Fun stuff.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was like being on another planet.
Seriously, it looked like Mars, right?
Yeah, it did. All the different color of the sky. I have my watch buzzing me here. Let me. Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like I showed you I sent you the video of me wearing a mask. I didn't wear a mask almost the whole thing through COVID, but I had to wear a mask that day. It was pretty nasty outside.
It really was. But
Signs
good to see you,
of the
man.
times. Signs of the times. Yes, man. It's crazy. Man, the world is crazy. The world is nuts.
Yep.
And actually, I guess part of tonight is going to be a little bit about how crazy this world is. We got a neat conversation for you guys for tonight. We're going to be talking about the Song of Moses. And of course, now, you know what? As we jump, let's just jump right into this. We're going to talk about the Song of Moses. Mm-hmm. You and I, we've been looking at this for a couple of weeks. I think it's a phenomenal prophecy. To me, it's really, as like a Bible geek, a prophecy geek, I love the Song of Moses. I truly do.
A lot better than the other one in Exodus, right?
Well, here's the thing. Oh, you know what I didn't tell everybody? Listen, if you're watching, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate that. If you like the ministry, if you're fed by it, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm telling you. Smash that like. What a stressful night. There's no shalom yet. This is just all stress tonight. All stress. But listen, I checked out a couple of commentaries where I was just, doing some studying over the week. And all the commentaries that I looked at about Revelation 15, because the Song of Moses is mentioned in Revelation 15. And so you just, started doing, research back and forth. And when you read Revelation 15, and this is so cool, man. Our God is just so awesome. Let me pop this up so everybody can see. I'm going to put the Scriptures version up. Guys, if you don't have the Scriptures version, if you have the LMC app, you can download the Scriptures version right on the app, so you can have it right in front of you. Of course, it's going to be on the screen here with us. This is Revelation 15, right? And so this is the end of the story. It's talking about the end of the story. It's talking about the wrath of Elohim. It's talking about what we would call Armageddon. I mean, it's just chapter 14 is a hairy chapter of the book of Revelation. Yeah. Man, when that stuff happens, my goodness, if we think it's bad now, it's nothing compared to
nothing yet.
Nothing compared to what Abba says is coming. So chapter 14, as a matter of fact, I think it's important before we even get into the Song of Moses to look at chapter 14. This is chapter 14, book of Revelation. And I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. Chapter 14 is.
What verse you can start at?
I'm gonna pick it up at verse 9, but it's really the whole chapter goes again. This is Yah's judgment being poured out, and why it's being poured out. It says, and the third messenger followed him, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast and his image, and receives his mark upon his forehead and upon his hand, he shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out undiluted into the cup of his wrath. And he shall be tortured with fire and sulfur before the set apart messengers and before the Lamb. All right, that's hairy stuff, right? That's crazy stuff. And we're not going to get into what the image is and the mark and all the rest of that. We can do that another time. But so the story then goes on. Let me see. Let me get to around verse 16. It says, and one on the cloud thrust his sickle into the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another messenger came out of the dwelling place which is in heaven, and he too had a sharp sickle. And another messenger came out from the slaughter place, having authority over the fire, and he cried with a loud cry to him having the sharp sickle, saying, send your sharp sickle to gather the cluster of the vine of the earth, because her grapes are ripe. This is ripe. This is judgment, right? The grapes are going to be smashed. This is when you read in Isaiah. It says, I'm the one that presses the winepress. Why are your garments dyed red? Well, this is why. And the messenger thrust his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and threw it into a great winepress of the wrath of Elohim. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress up to the bridles of horses for about 1,600 stadia. So horrific judgment. This thing is and it's connected to the whole idea of the mark and all the rest of that. All right.
Just imagining that scene in your head is like, whoa.
Oh, man, I wish I had, 20 million bucks and could put together
a movie,
Not like Mel Gibson, but a real movie of the real story. All right, so chapter 15 now. Everybody stick with me. I know this is kind of a long around the mountain sort of teaching or discussion, but when you get this, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, that's what he's talking about. So it says, and I saw another sign. So this is the next chapter. I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 messengers having 7 last plagues, for the wrath of Elohim was ended in them. So this is connected to what just came, right? The wrath is going to get poured out.
Yeah.
But he says, and I saw like a sea of glass mixed with fire, and those overcoming the beast in his image and his mark and his number of his name, standing on the sea of glass, holding harps of Elohim. So there's the resurrection's taken place already. They're standing before Father, and so whatever time frame of these other judgments of chapter 14, they've gone on. People have died. They've overcome. They're standing before Abba on this sea of mixed with fire and glass, and I can only imagine. We're talking about space. That concept.
The expanse, yeah.
And so, what do these people sing? And here it is, verse 3.
Song of Moshe, yeah.
And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of Elohim, and the song of the Lamb, saying, so my assumption is that what we're about to read is either the song or a rendering of the song, a description of what they're saying, a portion of the song, maybe. Right? I mean, I think that's a fair assumption as you look into this thing. And so it says, sorry, just got sidetracked there for a second. So here's the song. Great and marvelous are your works, Yah, El Shaddai, God Almighty, the Almighty One. Righteous and true are your ways, O Sovereign, of the set apart ones, the holy ones. Who shall not fear you, O Yah, and esteem your name? Because you alone are kind. You alone. There is none other but you.
Yep.
Because all nations shall come and worship before you, for your righteousness have been made manifest. So this is talking about all the nations, which I think is what's being explained. All these people who overcame in the first verse there, standing on the sea of glass, who overcame the beast and the image and the mark, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So they're singing the song of themselves and the house of Israel, because all nations shall come and worship before you, for your righteousness have been made manifest. And after this, I saw the dwelling place of the tent of witness in the heaven was open. And then the story goes on from there. So you get this little clip of the Song of Moses.
Mm-hmm.
And it's attached to some of the most horrible, terrible things that are
just previously happened. Yeah.
that just previously have done it for us are in our future at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And they sing this, and it says they sing the Song of Moses and of the Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not just the Song of Moses. One more time, verse 3. They sing the Song of Moses, the servant of Elohim, and the Song of the Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, I looked into a whole bunch of commentaries, just try to get some background on it, see what road has already been traveled. Though, I really usually don't look at too many commentaries anymore.
I was about to say, yeah.
Because, like 90% of the time I'm like, oh, come on.
Mm-hmm.
And this was another one of those, oh, come on. In the commentaries that I read, it said that the song that they're singing in Revelation 15 is the song of Exodus.
Mm-hmm.
Exodus 15, which is a song of Moses.
Mm-hmm. The horse and rider.
The horse and the rider. Right? So this is obviously for everybody, this is the whole after the Exodus story, right? This is the sea opens up, they cross on dry ground, Pharaoh and his armies go in, and boom, they get drowned to death.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sing a song. Well, what would you do? I'd sing a song too,
We had that song, remember, back in the day?
Yeah,
Lord
vaguely.
Blessed be the rock, remember? The horse and rider into the sea.
Yeah, I remember just that one phrase, the horse and the rider into the sea. But I couldn't remember. Yeah, you should. Yeah, I don't actually remember the song, but yeah, I remember in back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And we had
Not realizing it came from Exodus. Didn't know anything about it.
We had no idea when we sang that, right?
Yep.
I mean,
I guess I
can't speak for everybody, but even I had no idea really what that meant when we first started singing it. Mm-hmm. And every commentary points to it. And obviously, they're rejoicing that the horses, the soldiers and all their armaments and their riders died. And they're rejoicing over that. And there is nothing in that song that looks like any of this song.
Yeah.
There just isn't.
Mm-hmm.
But the entire outline of Revelation 14, the end of the book, and Revelation 15, standing on the glassy sea, this song is in Deuteronomy 32.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's cool.
It is cool.
That's really cool. And so we're going to go over it, guys, and hopefully we're going to read through as much of it as we can, do commentary on it.
What a fishy way, though, they broke up the chapter. If you really look, it starts in 31, the last verse. I don't know why they did that. Did you read Deuteronomy 31:30?
Let me jump over there so everybody can follow with us.
And when they put this into chapter form, I don't know why they didn't just throw that verse.
So let's put this up so everybody can see it with us. Here's
I'm
Deuteronomy.
Also pull it up on my phone.
Here's Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 30. And it says, "So Moses spoke in the hearing of all the assembly of Israel the words of this song till their completion." So they had to listen to the whole song.
Right.
You would assume Moses could sing. I think. Who knows? Because it kind of sounds like they had to endure it.
It was at Mount Sinai, so they had the original rock band. It was.
That's funny. Nice dad joke. That's a dad joke for sure. For sure.
I felt it as I was saying it.
I couldn't take it back once it came off the lips.
Couldn't hold it back.
All right, so that's Deuteronomy 31. Now, we've got to sort of know a little bit, and we've been touching on this on our weekend messages and in other places. What has happened in Deuteronomy 28, 29, 30, 31 is the blessings and the cursings. Mm-hmm. They get split up. We're going to talk about this tomorrow. They get split up onto two mountains, the mountain of blessing, the mountain of cursing. But Moses then also tells them in the previous chapters, you guys are going to fall away. I know you're going to fall. And then he goes through a whole list of all the crazy things that are going to happen to them. They're going to be scattered amongst the nations. They're going to be hated everywhere. The city that they're going to dwell in, Jerusalem, because it's not, they don't even know about Jerusalem yet, but it's coming. It's going to be destroyed. People are going to die. Millions are going to die. The women and their babies, and just the cannibalism and all of that stuff. Moses prophesies in the previous chapters. And so now here in chapter 32 now, and let me just put chapter 32 up there.
Do you want me to? I can start reading it, and I'm gonna just. You can have the scriptures on the screen. I'm gonna read it from the NIV, just because everyone doesn't have the scriptures, and just to let people know it's the same thing, right?
Well, you know what I could do. You know what I could do here.
Ooh, now you're getting fancy. You can break it up to 2.
Yeah, but you know what? It doesn't really come out good on the screen where it's all right. So I'll just keep the but yeah, we can do parallel now, but I'm going to exit parallel and just put it in the center and keep it on the scriptures version. But go ahead, brother. Start to read.
All right. Listen, you heavens, and I will speak. Hear, you earth, the words of my mouth. Let my teaching fall like rain, and my words descend like dew, like showers on new grass, like abundant rain on tender plants. I will proclaim the name of Yah. Oh, praise the greatness of our Elohim. He is the rock. His works are perfect, and all his ways are just. A faithful Elohim who does no wrong. Upright and just is he.
Okay, let's start to unpack this, because I don't want to read through the whole thing and then try to go back and begin to unpack it. Okay,
a big chapter.
So it's a big chapter. Hopefully we'll be able to get through it. We'll go a little bit extra today since we started a little bit late. All right, so give ear heavens and earth. Now this should connect us to like all the studies we did on the beginning, the Mazzaroth in the sky, the 2 witnesses, heaven and earth are the witnesses, right? And so he says, let my instruction fall as rain. This rain is a blessing. Now I know, in today's world it rains, you feel, oh man, it's raining outside, I can't go do what I want. No, rain was a blessing in this day. It was the way to get your crops watered, right? It was a way to clean up the earth around you. And so
you didn't have the irrigation like you have now, yeah.
So he's comparing the song he's about to sing to them, all the words of Deuteronomy, as like a refreshing rain. It's a cleansing thing. And of course, it says as the fine rain on the tender plants. So you get the idea. Verse for I proclaim the name of Yah, ascribe greatness to him. That is to ascribe great, and I think it's going to also use another term for him in just a little bit as the Almighty, which is the term that's used in Revelation, and this is the first time that it appears here. For I proclaim the name of Yah, ascribe greatness to our God. Who is our God? He's the rock. He is the rock. Now, absolutely, we refer to you, Yeshua, as the stumbling stone, the stone of offense. Yeah. But when I read this, you know what I realized in the moment? And, I reserve the right to be wrong, for sure. But in Matthew 16, when Yeshua asked the disciples, who do men say that I am? And of course, Peter's answer, you are. In fact, let's go there really, really quick so that we can do a little I wish I could do it side by side now, so that we can compare just a little bit of what Peter's saying here. Let me scroll down a little bit. Here it is. So Peter says to him, I'm going to highlight for everybody, you're Messiah, the Mashiach, the Son of the living Elohim. And Yeshua answered him, blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you. But who did?
Yep, the Father.
Father, from where?
Yep.
In the heavens. What's Moses talking about? His testimony is coming. Let the heavens be the witness, let the earth be the witness. And who is Father? Who is Elohim? He's the rock. And I also say to you, Kifa, on this rock. And we normally take that to mean that he's talking about the statement he has said that you are son of the the son of living the son Messiah, son of the living God. He says, you are Kepha, and on this rock I shall build my assembly, and the gates of Sheol shall not overcome it. Well, upon what rock? Who's actually the rock? Who revealed this truth to him? Father.
Yep, Father.
Father, who is in heaven. On the revelation of truth from Father, who is in heaven, who rains down his words like water, to make the grass grow. When you get that revelation, and that comes from him, that he is Messiah, well, you're getting it from the rock.
Yep, and in church world, remember they used to say, "Oh, it's Peter." He was telling Peter he was the rock.
Yeah, or the Pope's the rock, and all of these crazy things. Now, I think you can connect it all the way back here. I think you can connect it all the way back here because Abba is defining himself that he's the rock. That's where this testimony comes from, and it comes from heaven. Peter's understanding of it, all of our understanding of it. If you understand who Messiah is, Father did that to you. Abba gave you that understanding. Abba opened up your eyes to that. So his work is perfect for all his ways and his right ruling, a God of truth without unrighteousness, and straight is he. So without unrighteousness, a righteous God means that he's got to punish unrighteousness. To be righteousness, there's got to be judgment for what is unrighteous. Okay, so go ahead. So that's so what verse are we on?
Verse 5.
Verse 5. Yeah, go ahead and read from there.
They are corrupt and not his children. To their shame, they are a warped and crooked generation. In this, the way you repay Yah, you foolish and unwise people. Is he not your father, your creator, who made you and formed you? Remember the days of old. Consider the generations long past. Ask your father, and he will tell you, your elders, and they will explain it to you. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he divided all mankind, he set up boundaries for the peoples according to the number of the sons of Israel.
Okay, hold on just a second. This is really important because they're just about to go into the land, right? Everything's supposed to be good. A twisted and crooked generation has corrupted itself. Their blemish, they are not his children. Well, who's he talking about? Well, I think he's referring to the golden calf.
Yeah.
I think he's referring
the incident, to
all the rebellion. And what's going to wind up happening in this song is he's going to tell him that rebellion is not going to stop. Because that's what Moses just told him in the previous chapters, right? Jerusalem's going to fall. You're going to be scattered, yada, yada, yada. But at the end, he's going to circumcise your hearts. He's going to bring back a remnant. And I think this is what, so far, I think this is what the song, this is the storyline, if you would. So it's prophecy. He's telling them what has happened, and he's also telling them what's going to happen. And he calls them a foolish and an unwise people. Is he not your father who brought you? And the whole idea of and because you don't normally hear Judaism today, or even in Yeshua's day, often refer to Father or Yah as Father, right? They'll refer to him as Adonai or Hashem, but not often. I mean, it's not like they don't, but not often. And yet, this is telling us who birthed them. He's talking about the house of Israel, right? Who birthed them? It has not your father who brought you, who created you and established you. He's talking about the birth of Israel. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask your father and let him show you, your elders, and let them say to you. So he's talking in the future. In the future, you're going to ask your fathers. In the future, you're going to ask them to consider all the generations that are coming. Who made Israel? Father made Israel. Of all the nations there are, Father made Israel. And of course, the next verses that we just read, that he when he divided the nations their inheritance, he did it according to the house of Israel, which kind of brings an interesting point. Father wants nations, or at least the plan at this point was boundaries. Because what divides nations? Ethnicity, cultural differences, religious differences. a whole slew, monetary differences, all sorts of different things, and I'm just spitballing here, but I think that was the intention the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I think the intention of the Tower of Babel was exactly the opposite. No boundaries, all together,
Yep.
all of one mind. And so what does Father do? He splits them up, and they become the nations. Kind of interesting how today we're trying to abolish all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? We're trying to abolish all the nations. We're trying to abolish. There's no southern border.
Yeah.
There's no boundaries. The only border we're concerned about is the border of Ukraine. But we're not concerned about our own boundaries. And Deuteronomy, I think it's Deuteronomy, tells us what happens in the mixing of peoples as people's nations become taken over. And so it's kind of interesting that we're watching this sort of play out right in front of us. Now, obviously, we live in a land of multiple, the great experiment, right? Multiple peoples, multiple languages and ideas and customs and beliefs. And what's happening to us?
Yeah.
We are a nation on decline, if not a nation about to go the way
divided, right?
A house divided falls. And Messiah told us that the issue or one of the issues of the latter days is going to be nation against nation, people against people. He means ethnicity against ethnicity. And that's all you hear in our country is ethnicity against ethnicity, not the ideas of Martin Luther King that, judge a person on their character. That's all gone out the window. We don't want to hear that anymore.
Forget about it.
Now it's just judge a person on their sex, judge a person on their gender, judge a person on their religion. Just keep judging and judging and judging. We're watching this. And he tells us this whole thing was started off to be nations. But verse 9, go ahead, why don't you read verse 9 and 10?
Yep. For Yah's portion is his people, Jacob his allotment, his allotted inheritance. In a desert land he found him, in a barren and hollow wasteland. He shielded him and cared for him. He guarded him as the apple of his eye, like an eagle.
Let's hold on here. Who is the apple of Father's eyes? What is this whole thing about? What is the portion that Yah has for Jacob?
Yeah.
And by Jacob, of course,
Israel.
Israel. Israel is his allotted inheritance. This is so lost in our modern religious world today that this is what the story's about. This is the story. Father has allotted a nation. Yes, to bless all nations, but the inheritance comes through Jacob.
Yes.
And we have to be attached to Jacob. We're going to find that out later on in this song. And of course, he's talking about, and he says he found them in the wilderness. He means he found them in Egypt. So he's talking about the beginning of the house of Israel. And what does he call them? The apple of his eye. That story doesn't change. I know we hear a lot in sort of the modern theological over the last 15, 16, 17, 1800 years.
Dispensationalism,
Yeah, that, Yah's done with them. Right? He's finished with them. He's cut them off. No, they are the apple of his eye. And Father's gifts are without repentance. Now he's going to tell us, and this is the wonderful thing about this psalm, because it is a psalm, it's a song, he's going to tell us the history of what's going to happen. He's going to tell us what Abba did. So he's telling them he chose Israel. He brought them out of the wilderness. And then verse 11.
11, yep. Like an eagle that stirs up its nest and hovers over its young, that spreads its wings to catch them and carries them aloft. Yah alone led him, and no foreign god was with him. He made him ride on the heights of the land and fed him with the fruit of the fields. He nourished him with honey from the rock, with oil from the flinty crag or rock, or with curds and milk from the herd and flock, and with the fatted lambs and goats, with choicer rams of Bashan and the finest kernels of wheat. You drank the foaming blood of the grape. Ooh.
Okay. All right. Let's hold on here for a second.
Yep.
Lots of stuff going on in here. So he's saying he's called as the apple of his eye for the benefit of all nations, the house of Israel. Jacob is the inheritance, and And now he gives us this analogy, and you can go online, you can go check this out. There's some really neat stuff about the way eagles make their chicks fly.
Mm-hmm.
They literally kind of kick them out of the nest.
Push them out of the nest, yeah.
Yeah, these birds are, their nests are like hundreds of feet in the air in some crevice of a mountain, or, some tree that's 60, 80 feet, up in the air. Getting pushed out of that nest is not an easy thing. And the mother bird hovers over, or the father bird hovers. It's amazing. You go to YouTube, just check out a couple of videos, and this is the analogy that he's giving, that this is what Father has done to the house of Israel. He pushed them, right? He's going to force them to fly, because they are going to bring the inheritance to everybody, or the story is going to be brought to everybody. And so he pushes them. And what is it? And it's he that does it. He says, bring them on the wings. Yah alone led them. And there was no strange mighty. And I think this is, again, as a backhand statement to the golden calf.
Yeah, no foreign. Yeah.
No foreign god. But this is also a prophecy that we see fulfilled in Revelation, because they're singing this song as a result of what?
Yeah.
Those that had to deal with the beast and the mark and this yada yada and yada yada and yada yada. And so the issue has always been some sort of idolatry.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
On behalf of humanity, on behalf of who we are. But he tells them no other mighty one was with him, and then all of these wonderful blessings. This Father's kicking him out of the nest, but he's also going to give them these great blessings, cattle and oil, and when it says the blood of grapes, which is kind of interesting, because this then becomes the analogy later on for Messiah when he says, "This is my blood," and he's holding up the cup of grape juice. This is one of those scripture verses you can point to and say, "Oh, this is what he's referring to." The juice of a grape is considered the blood of the grape, and it is. I mean, you're killing a grape to get the juice out of it. So Yah kicks them out. He's sort of going through the history, if you would, of what's going to happen to them as they get into the land, all the benefits they're going to get. They're not going to have to build farms, not going to have to build houses. Father's going to give them the land of the people that he's kicking out. And they're going to have all these wonderful things. And what's going to happen? And I love this. I love verse 15, because it is so, I don't know, it's funny. But go ahead, right? Go to 15.
Jeshurun, and if you look in that's just another word for Israel, grew fat and kicked, filled with food. They became heavy and sleek. They abandoned the Elohim who made them and rejected the rock, their savior. So they made him jealous with their foreign gods and angered him with their detestable idols. They sacrificed to false gods, which are not Elohim, gods that have been known, gods that recently appeared, gods your ancestors did not fear. You deserted the rock who fathered you. You forgot the Elohim who gave you birth.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're right. He calls them Yeshurun. And like you said, I think the word Yeshurun actually means upright one.
Yeah, so upright one, and then other words, for Israel.
Because Father made them, right? The inheritance is for them. They're the example. They're the ones getting kicked out of the nest. They're the ones that are learning to fly first. They're the ones being given the information about him first, and all of these wonderful blessings. And with all of these, so this pet name for them, or I guess maybe a pet name's not the right way. Nickname.
Yeah.
Right, and everybody's, you always have a nickname for your kids. This nickname for them is
a moron.
And Yeshurun, he grew fat, and he kicked. And I think, what is it? The King James says, Yeshurun grew fat and kicked. You grew fat. You grew thick.
And another version I read said it grew obese. Yeah.
You grew thick. You grew the King James says you grew thick. You are obese. You know what Father's doing here? He's fat shaming Israel. I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah, that's funny.
Now don't forget, this is prophecy. Hey, I shared with Karen today. This is nuts, man. I should have saved the video when I heard it. Oh no, I heard it. I heard it on 1010 Wins. If anybody doesn't know, 1010 Wins is like an all-day news. Give us 22 minutes and we'll give you the world. Right?
Yeah,
It's like this news thing
I missed
here in the city.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, well now it's on FM as well. It comes in better on FM. And I listened to the segment. I didn't catch the whole thing, but what I did hear, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" One of the new medical standards, one of the medical standards that have been proven, body mass index, the way they determine health of an individual. There is a standard for a body mass index, and then there's what everybody else is. Well, now and this goes right back to what we just said about the nations. This is nuts. In the thing from 1010 Wins, it says now they're discouraging the use of the BMI in dealing with people's health and diet and et cetera, et cetera. And guess why they're scrapping it? Because it's racist.
A racist, huh?
I have no idea how. I really don't. But oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact a lot of doctors' offices don't even weigh people anymore because they don't want to offend people. It's like, come on.
Yeah. But so here's Father saying, listen, you guys, you hung out too long, not doing anything. You got overweight on all the good stuff I was giving to you. And what happened? Abominations. They got easy. Things got a little easy. They got easy. They slaughtered to demons. And this is really interesting because Saul brings this up later on as well. Here it is in verse 17. They slaughtered, and this is history in that they did this with the golden calf, but this song is prophecy. He's telling them what they will do, what is coming in the future for the house of Israel, and they will neglect the rock who brought them forth, and they will forget the God, Father, the God who fathered you. And they did, and Yeshua's words play that out. He plays that out. You are Yah is not your father. I know who your father is. You're just like your father. He was, and who's he talking to? The house of Israel.
Yep.
I was thinking about I think it was yesterday. In the second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way up to 15th, 16th century, a lot of the Protestants, a lot of the Christendom that was believing in Messiah, believing in the story of the Christ, blamed the Jews for killing Messiah, to the point of pogroms and not death camps. Well, eventually at death camps, but pogroms and kicking them from out of one country. Inquisitions, I mean, just horrific things, and it was the scattered Hebrew people, the scattered Jewish people, that faced the onslaught of this, and even when we read, sometimes you can't help but just you want to see Annas, get his due. You want to see Caiaphas get his due.
Yeah.
You want to see all the Sanhedrin sort of, get their due, get what's coming to them.
A whole brood of vipers, right?
And there's no doubt that they were, right? Yeshua declares that, and you're going to see he's going to talk about it in this psalm. He's going to talk about it in this song. But I thought for a second, you know what? Ultimately, though, by the pattern that Father set, who were the only ones who could offer up a sacrifice? The priests. They're the only ones that could do it.
Yeah.
Right? And so, just like he raised up Pharaoh, the type stays consistent even with Annas and Caiaphas and all of the other sons that became priests. Nebuchadnezzar.
Right, he was a sovereign.
He used them. But Father used them in the pattern to which they were designed for.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so the priesthood, if you think about it in a sort of crazy sort of way, and yet I think true, actually did what the priesthood was always going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Kill the sacrifice.
Yep.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Different way of thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a good thought. It's a good thought.
Different way of thinking about it, but there it is. And so he's telling them that's what you're going to do. Go ahead. Let's read on. We're on.
Let's get down to 20.
Verse 19. Verse 19.
And Yah saw this and rejected them because he was angered by his sons and daughters. I will hide my face from them, he said, and see what their end will be, for they are a perverse generation, children who are unfaithful.
All right, let's stop. So what he's beginning to describe here is what's coming. Mm-hmm. Right? They're going to do this. They're going to be unfaithful. They're going to offer to demons, all this other stuff. They're going to make them jealous. They're going to be a perverse generation. And what are they going to be? Now, let me put this in the another version. So, what is it? Verse 20. And he said, "Let me hide my face from them. Let me see what their end is, for they are a perverse generation, children in whom there is no trusting." Well, let's look at that in a little bit different version. Let's just go to one that most people are familiar with. I personally don't like the King James, but let's take a look at it anyway. So here's verse 20 in the King James. It says, "And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end will be." So he's talking about the end. What's the end going to be like?
Yep.
"For they are a perverse generation, children in whom is no faith." Well, what does Saul tell us in Romans 9 and 10? He tells us exactly this, that the house of Israel tried to earn a position with Father through their actions, through making the Torah a religion, or building a whole religion around the Torah. And now the nations are coming in, but they're not coming in by a Torah of righteousness to earn Father's favor. They're coming in by faith. Mm-hmm. They had no faith. And so what is Moses telling us is going to be the problem of the people of God as time goes on? They're going to be children in whom there's no faith. They're going to keep the words. They're going to try to keep the words. They're going to build a religion around it, but they're not going to trust God. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're not going to trust him.
Yep. And the interlinear also says perverse.
For they are, what you mean, perverse generation? Yeah, a perverse generation.
Yeah, which you already had it in the scriptures. I didn't even look up. So
and there's no faith. This becomes the issue. This becomes the whole issue of Romans 9 and Romans 10. The idea that the nations are coming in by faith, that they have attained by faith what Israel could not attain through their efforts, through their works. Because it was never supposed to be about that. And way before it really even starts and gets snowballed, what's Moses saying? The same exact thing.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. Verse 21.
Yeah, this is a good verse too. They made me jealous by what is no God and angered me with their worthless idols. I will make them envious by those who are not a people. I will make them angry by a nation that has no understanding.
Okay.
And of course, that's
go ahead.
Hosea. Yeah, we see that in the book of Hosea 2:23.
Let me pop that up.
And this is good too. I think a lot of people that are just learning, because you can also see this scripture in Romans twice.
Yeah, I was gonna go to Romans, but okay, so it's Hosea 2 what?
2:23.
"And I shall sow her for myself in the earth, and I shall have compassion on her who had not obtained compassion. And I shall say to those who are not my people, you are my people, while they say, my Elohim." So he's talking about the scattered northern house. Mm-hmm. That's going to open up their eyes, which is what's happening to us right now.
Yep.
As the descendants of those people, whether we're sojourners or not, they're scattered amongst us. But oh my goodness, the way Paul says this.
In Romans 10?
In Rome, is it Romans 10 or Romans 11?
I got Romans 10:19 also. Might be it's said a lot.
Well, what he's saying is I'm gonna let's go back one more time and actually look at what he says.
I will make them
32.
envious by those who are not a people.
Right, there you go.
And I will, yep.
So here's verse 20. They may be jealous, provoking worthless matters, but I will make them jealous by those who are not a people. So a people who don't know this stuff, weren't the ones kicked out of the nest first, are going to get something that the people of the inheritance aren't going to realize, and should be provoked to jealousy. And of course, jealousy makes you want to have what someone else has.
Yep.
And oh my goodness, Saul uses the exact words in Romans chapter 11. I say then, did Yah reject his people? No. Why? Because they're the inheritance. You know, Jacob is the apple of his eye.
Yeah.
Let it not be, for I am of Israel, of the seed of Abraham, the tribe of Benjamin. Elohim has not rejected his people, whom he knew beforehand. Or do you not know the scripture says that of Yah, how he pleads with, not with Yah, with Elijah, how he pleads with Elohim against Israel. He says to kill the prophets, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah, and go to 10:19 if you can.
Well, but before I get there, I want to.
What are you shooting down to?
I'm trying to get to verse 11. Here it is.
Yeah, about to say provoking the jealousy right there. Yeah.
And I say, have they stumbled that they should fall? Let it not be. So even with what Moses is talking about,
Yep.
Are they going to stumble? Are they going to do all of this? Yes. But have they stumbled that they should fall? Let it not be. But their fall, deliverance has come to the nations, and he quotes the song of Moses to provoke them to jealousy, for us to understand what they were supposed to understand, but because they had become Jeshurun, they could not. Isn't that neat?
Yeah, it's the same thing with the branches being broken off, right?
No, they're no different. And so who's the foolish nation? The scattered house, the 10 tribes scattered amongst the nations that become the nations, according to the prophecy given by Jacob himself. That's who we are, the northern house, made up of sojourners and Gentiles. We are the foolish house. Isn't that something?
Yeah, we're the fools.
We are the fools that he's talking about. So,
are you still in Romans? Do 10:19 also. I just wanted to.
Let me get there.
And if you read Romans 9:25, it literally is just word for word quoting. It actually says from Hosea 2:23. Romans 10:19.
Romans 10:19. But I ask, here it is, but I ask that Israel not know, for Moses says, I shall provoke you to jealousy by those who are not a nation. I shall enrage you by the unwise nation. So Saul realized that the song of Moses was being played out in their day, right? That the history was unfolding exactly the way the song of Moses had said it would unfold. And here's Saul pointing it out. You know, way before we ever saw it, right? Way before we ever. How many times did we read this in years past and had no idea, no idea what he thought, no connection, no idea, and yet Saul he absolutely got it. All right, so let's go back to Deuteronomy
22,
chapter 32, and let me scroll down. I'm sorry if I'm making people dizzy scrolling so fast out there. But
write it in the comments. You're making me dizzy, BD.
We want to try to get through it. Let me know what you guys think about some of the ideas we're throwing out here. The whole idea of the priest actually doing what they were ordained to do, stuff like that. Let's hear what your views are. You can do it here on the chat. You can do it in the chat in Manna Eaters. You can discuss it there. We'll go back and forth with you afterwards. We'll jump on and have a discussion if you guys want. But to me, this is an absolutely amazing song, amazing prophecy so far. So because of all of this, so let's just say, as a time reference, if you look at this song as a timeline, and the beginning of it is that he pulls them out of the wilderness, out of Egypt. Okay, that's history. We know that. there's going to come a time where they're going to rebel and grow fat, and they're going to all sorts of abominations. Well, that's happened. And there's going to be a time when that they're going to have no faith, and he's going to make them jealous by a people who shouldn't know anything and are going to come in and learn. Well, if we put that on a timeline, now we're talking first century. So what happens after? The next verses happen after. This is the continued timeline, if you would, if you want to think about it, or if you can think about it in that perspective. So he makes them jealous by worthless matters. And he's going to make them jealous by a foolish people. Verse 22. Go ahead, bro.
Yep. And for a fire will be kindled by my wrath, one that burns down to the realm of the dead below. It will devour the earth and its harvest, and set afire the foundations of the mountains. I will heap calamities on them and spend my arrows against them. I will send wasting famine against them, consuming pestilence and deadly plagues. I will send against them the fangs of wild beasts, the venom of vipers that glide in the dust.
Okay. we got a whole. There's so much here.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
This to me is, and we don't even have time really to jump into it, but you guys can look this up on your own. This to me is Luke 21. This is Yeshua telling them that because you rejected the covenant, his coming, you didn't believe. Not one stone. The city's going to be surrounded.
Yeah.
Pray the flight's not in winter. Pray that you're not pregnant when this happens. You know,
on a Sabbath.
Pray it's not on a Sabbath. Pray if you're outside the city, don't come into the city. You're going to be scattered amongst the nations. They're going to have a boot on you. They're going to kill you with the sword. They're going to go air. Then who's going to do what the nations are? And the teeth of beasts I send upon you. The nations are going to come upon them. And what have the nations done to
and how ironic,
that people?
Rome, right?
Rome, yeah. And with the poison of serpents, with false doctrine, with false teaching to Israel, not just to all of us, false teaching specifically given to Israel, with the poison of serpents of the dust. Wow. So now we can have a picture of where in the timeline is this song.
Yeah.
It's getting into what you and I would call the last 1,700 years. Because that's what's been happening for the last 1,800 years.
Yep.
Scarcity of food, consumed by heat, bitter destruction, teeth of beasts sent upon them. And there's still poison all over to the people, to the native-born Judah. Still. And a foolish nation is starting to open up their eyes and realize, wow, what a great story.
Oh, this is, man.
What a great story. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's 25.
The 24?
25.
No, 25. Yep. In the street, the sword will make them childless. In their homes, terror will reign. The young men and the young women will perish. The infants and those with gray hair. I said I would scatter them and erase their name from human memory. Whew. But I dreaded the taunt of the enemy, lest the adversary misunderstood and say, our hand has triumphed, and Yah has not done all this. They are a nation without sense. There is no discernment in them.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's big time, huh?
Ooh.
If only they were wise and would understand this and discern what their end will be. How could one man chase 1,000 or two put 10,000 to flight unless their rock had sold them, unless Yah had given them up?
Okay, so this is important. So not only, I think, are we looking at the last 16, 1700, 1800 years of history that has been directed at the house of Israel. I think we're reading, or we're about to read, chapter 14 of Revelation, of a great judgment, of a churning of the winepress.
Yep, verse 32. I see that. Yeah,
that's coming. The churning of a winepress is coming, because they didn't understand. There was no discernment, and he's going to do this. He's telling them, consider your latter end, how this is going to play out, and again, there's going to be a great deception, another God, another Messiah, and why is this, or how does this happen? Why does this judgment come upon? It says, well, how can one send 1,000 and 2 to 10,000 to flight unless the rocket's old? And tell him Father's going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Father's going to do this. You know what this is? This is kicking the eagle out of the nest.
Mm.
And sometimes that's a brutal thing.
It's a bit, yeah.
That's a brutal thing. So this isn't the same thing, later on when it says in Psalms that, one can send 1,000 to, that's as a good thing that one of us can send 1,000, 10 of us, 10,000. This is the opposite. It says you can't do that. Mm-hmm. The only way that happens is if Father does it. And what he's saying is this calamity that has come and the calamity that will come, Father sent. Now I know that's probably not what people want to think, but that's what it's telling us. That's what these verses mean. Verse 31.
Yep, for their rock is not like our rock, as even our enemies concede. Their vine comes from the vine of Sodom and from the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are filled with poison, and their clusters with bitterness. Their wine is the venom of serpents, the deadly poison of cobras. Have I not? Yeah, have I not?
Go ahead. Well, hold on. Verse 33. This is Revelation 14.
Mm-hmm.
The parts that we were talking about. They take their sickle, and they plunge it into the land.
Mm-hmm.
And what does the land become like? What is the vine that's actually attached to Yah's people, to the world, but to Yah's people in particular? The vine of Sodom. Mm-hmm. And the vine of Gomorrah. Well, guess what month this is? Not just here, all around the world, including in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
What is the vine of all of us, all the nations? The vine is Sodom and Gomorrah, not the true vine. We've connected ourselves. So and off of this vine of Sodom and Gomorrah, we're growing grapes. Mm-hmm. Right? We're growing clusters that are filled with poison and sickness, and they're bitter grapes. And what does Revelation 14 tell us Messiah is going to come to do? Mm-hmm. He's going to churn the winepress of all the poisonous grapes of gall and clusters of bitter, and the poison and the wine of the poison of the serpents. That's what he's going to do. That's why his robe is red. Mm-hmm. This we're looking at a window, a picture of what will become Revelation chapter 14.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the song that they're singing in Revelation chapter 15. Mm-hmm. No, don't have no other God. The beast, the mark, all that stuff. Don't rely on that other God. Don't have the vine of Sodom and Gomorrah. Don't. And this is the only place. Later on, Jerusalem is also called Sodom and Gomorrah in Revelation, or earlier in Revelation.
Yeah.
And man, that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at.
And how many people don't even realize how prophetic the book of Deuteronomy is, huh?
This is an amazing prophecy. Yep. And guys, there's so much more here. We're just we've only got so much time, so we're skipping through on a lot of things. But
yeah, do you want to have any other?
Let's see what I got my notes here for that. Well, I mean, let's read on a little bit. We only got to verse.
I'm on 34. 34.
Yeah.
All right. Have I not kept this in reserve and sealed it in my vault?
So I kept this in reserve, and it's sealed up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's going to happen to these things? They're going to be unsealed. Mm-hmm. And who is the one that unseals them? Mm-hmm. The Lamb.
Yep.
The Lamb.
Yeah, that's big, right?
Oh, my goodness. The connections here are amazing. Go ahead, verse 35.
Eyes to see, it is mine to avenge. I will repay. In due time, their foot will slip. Their day of disaster is near, and their doom rushes upon them. Yah will vindicate his people and relent concerning his servants when he sees their strength is gone and no one is left, slave or free. He will say, now where are their gods, the rock they took refuge in, the gods who ate the fat of their sacrifices?
Let's hold on. So let's take this from a Revelation 15 and 14 perspective. Mm-hmm. What mighty ones is he talking about? Well, in their day, a golden calf. Later on, Baal, in their day, Baal. And throughout history, Baal. In the time of Revelation 15 and 14, we're talking about the beast,
Yep.
the nation, and its false religion, the prophet, and the mark, and the idol, and all of that stuff. And he's saying, where are those mighty ones?
Mm-hmm.
Where are they? The rock, the thing you called the rock, in whom you sought refuge, the God you worship. Wow.
Yep.
The connections are just marvelous.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, brother.
It's like Elijah, man. Right?
Yeah.
It sounds like Elijah when he was calling out the prophets of Baal.
Yeah, it is. This is heavy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 38.
The gods who ate the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offerings, let them rise up to help you. Let them give you shelter. See now that I myself am he. There is no God beside me. I put to death and I bring to life. I have wounded and I will heal, and no one can deliver out of my hand.
Wow.
That's Yeshua. No one can, right?
Well, that's got to be like a T-shirt, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be. I mean, what do we say like every week? You are Yah,
and there is no other.
You are God, and there is no other. Father's been saying this from the beginning, but wow, I put to death. He has rights over the entire vineyard, the wild ones, all of it, and he's trying to cultivate us to get into the true vine, but you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I put to death. Oh well, that's a mean God. Pfft, you know what? What can you do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Well, you just, I don't believe. I think God is something else. We just finished telling us this is who I am. I put to death, and I make alive.
I bring to life. Yeah.
Life and death. Choose one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I wound, and I heal, and nobody can deliver from my hand. Wow, that's awesome.
It's powerful, right?
That's powerful. Verse 40.
I lift my hand to heaven and solemnly swear, as surely as I live forever. When I sharpen my flashing sword and my hand grasps it in judgment, I will take vengeance on my adversaries and repay those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, while my sword devours flesh, the blood of the slain and the captives, the head of the enemy leaders.
Wow.
Rejoice, you nations.
Oh, hold on, wait.
I got chills on that one, dude.
Oh, yeah, we got to stop there. So this is still Revelation 14. Because he's taking his sword. And I guess you could say, because Revelation 19 is just, Messiah coming with the sword, doing the very same thing. But this is also, I think, because he's talking about the grapes. This is Revelation 14. Take out the sickle.
Yep.
Right? Take out the sickle. Take out your sword.
Flesh, yeah.
And devour, cut in pieces, blood, up to the bridle of a horse's, up to the bridle part of a horse. Wow. I'm going to make my arrows drunk with blood. Why are your garments red? Right? I've come from Basra, from the churning of the winepress of Elohim. My sword will devour flesh. Birds will come and eat on that day. That's what this is explaining. That's what this psalm is about. That's what this song is about.
Yeah.
It's a book of Revelation. It's a book of Revelation way before we ever even thought up the idea or concept of what the book of Revelation is all about. And so he's going to do this. He's going to all the slain, the captives, the long-haired enemies, the nations, his people that are also doing it, even though he says he's going to keep a remnant. And all of this to do what? Look, I love it. Verse 43. This to me is it. And we're going to stop at verse 43. But go ahead and do verse 43.
Rejoice, you nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants. He will take vengeance on his enemies and make atonement for his land and people.
All right, so let's think about this a second.
Mm-hmm.
Who is he telling to rejoice? The nations.
Mm-hmm.
This is a song to Jeshurun.
Yeah.
And yet he's telling the nations to rejoice. Why? Because he's going to come and avenge. He's going to avenge the blood of his servants. That's Revelation 5.
Mm-hmm. And
5 and 6. And here it is. And he's going to make atonement for his people and for the Lamb. Well, who's that?
Yep.
The Lamb.
That's right.
The song.
That's the mic drop of the whole.
That's the mic drop, man. The song of Moses and the Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Revelation chapter 15 is the song quoted there is not Exodus 15.
Mm-hmm.
It's Deuteronomy 32, which is an outline of the whole story.
That's right.
The whole story.
That's awesome.
Isn't that crazy, man?
Yeah, that is good, man.
That's some crazy stuff.
That was worth the wait, right?
Yeah, I hope if you think that was worth the wait, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. Yeah, that's cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool stuff. And what's even crazier is we're right on the cusp of this.
Yeah.
I think we're so close, man. Just look at what we are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, in every area of the world that there is, you just see sin and rebellion just so prevalent, and we're being forced to do things, and it's we're being prepped to just accept
it. Our
kids are being prepped, pushed, taught to accept it. Take this thing or you don't have a job. Take this thing or you lose your livelihood. Believe this thing or you get canceled. It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, it's also a fulfillment to Isaiah, right? Woe to those who call good evil, evil good. We're seeing all of it.
We're seeing all of it. We're seeing all of it in ways that we could have never even imagined just 20 years ago, 10 years ago.
10 years ago, I don't even think, right?
Just 10 years ago. Wow. So, but I don't know. To me, this is an amazing psalm. And one more time, I gotta read this verse again.
Which one?
Verse 39. No, verse 39. See now, I am He, and there is no Elohim beside me.
Mm-hmm.
I put to death, and I make alive. I have wounded, and I heal. And from my hand, no one delivers.
Mm-hmm.
Beloved, nobody's getting away with this stuff.
Yep.
Nobody.
That reminds me of the words of Yeshua, right? It says, no one can snatch him from my Father's hand, right?
Yep. He's going to save a remnant, as that verse 42 tells us. He's gonna save a remnant. Verse 43. He's going to avenge the blood of his servants, the remnant, return vengeance on his adversaries. He's going to pardon the land and his people, those of the foolish nation and those of Jeshurun, and open up their eyes. Crazy days are ahead of us, brother.
Oh, yes. I agree, man.
Crazy days are ahead.
Soon.
If we think the last few years have been bad.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Can't imagine. Well, I guess we'll talk about that another day.
Yep.
All right.
Well, good conversation, bro.
Yeah, cool conversation for tonight. I'm it took us a while to get it out, to get here, but we're here, and seems like everything
pretty well, considering my eyes are all watery and.
Yeah, I know. I know you're suffering with that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my eyes. Yep.
But we did it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that conversation. Check it out again. Go back, read all of Deuteronomy 32. Yeah, read it. Read Revelation 14. Read Revelation 15. See the parallels, and it's absolutely mind blowing. All right, brother.
That's it, man.
Got a awesome Shabbat word?
No, just enjoy the Sabbath, and everyone, like I said in the comments, give it a like, and tell everyone what you're doing tonight. I don't know. I miss everybody. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I feel
it has been a while. You know what I really like to see everybody do? Everybody that's listening, and for those who maybe will listen later, every night on Shabbat, when Shabbat begins for you, get on the LMC app and just type in real quick, Shabbat Shalom. Yeah. You can send a meme if you want, like we do memes. I've seen the one I put up there today. It's Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, and they're going Shabbos. When they did hunting season, rabbit season, duck season, or they do Shabbos, Shabbat, Shabbos, Shabbat. Let us know. If beloved, we can take all of the 30 seconds that it takes for us to stop for a second, jump on the LMC app, and just
give a shout out to your
give
family.
A shout out to your family.
We're all family.
Yep, give a shout out to your family everywhere, and just say Shabbat Shalom, and see that just might make somebody's day. So please, if you haven't done it, do it. And
you can tell everyone for those that don't know what that word, what that means, you can tell them what that means, PD.
There you go. Well, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Just a peaceful Sabbath, a restful Sabbath.
That's it.
So that's it. We want Yah Shalom, right?
Yep. We want Father's peace for sure. All right, brother. I love you, man.
All right, man. Love everybody out there. Shabbat Shalom.
Yep. Enjoy the rest of your Sabbath. We'll see you tomorrow morning, man.
That's right. Tomorrow morning. Looking forward to it.
All right, man.
Bye-bye, buddy.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, guys. I hope that you enjoyed that conversation. As we said just a second ago, join us tomorrow morning at 10:45 for our weekend service, our Shabbat service. We're going to be talking about the two mountains of blessing and cursing as we get closer and closer to the story of Joshua and the turning over of everything and the conquering of the land. That's going to be a series that's coming up real soon. So in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Sabbath, if it's already started, if it's about to start, or if it's behind you, for all I know, wherever you are in the world. Enjoy your day. Yah bless. And of course, guys, Shabbat Shalom.